A very, very warm good evening. This is Zarnavo Chaudhary. You are live on my YouTube channel, Arunfoot. It is Monday, the 11th of August, 2025. We enter the Independence Day week for India, which will happen on Friday. And again, a lot of things to think about, ponder about. And if you are watching this also afterwards, like this stream, share this stream. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, become part of the arunfoot family here on YouTube. Follow my other social medias, be it on Twitter, X, Threads, Instagram, and as always, thank you for your support. And do watch, especially the short videos that I try and make on a daily basis in regard to topics related to Indian football. I need your support, guys, as always, as I say, and thanks for that as well. And let's start with the nice one. I couldn't do a live yesterday, so I'll start with that topic. The India Under-20 women's team won in Myanmar, beat Myanmar to qualify for the AFC Under-20 Women's Asian Cup. Huge achievement yesterday, and my heartfelt congratulations to the team, to the players, to Joachim Alexanderson and his coaching staff, and to everybody involved. At least the women's are giving us in Indian football some good news as such and some good vibes. I hope the men's follow up down the road. Reynolds says, I may have share of criticism, Kalyan bit what he said yesterday, aimed at the saviors. In some ways, truth, right? If Ranjit didn't mess it up, we could have at least had a solution now. And you know what Kalyan indirectly said by saying what he did say is that he, without meaning to say it, but most probably without the intervention of the Supreme Court in the past, most probably the current AIFF wouldn't be there, right? So that's an interesting one. Again, yes, he's right on that front. That talking about the so-called saviors and whatever of Indian football, but if they weren't there, he wouldn't also be there. So thank you, as always, to all our saviors of Indian football who have brought us to this mess. And once more, it's distraction. I mean, if the AIFF really was willing to do the work that is needed at this moment in time, looking at the men's game, then by now the AIFF would have filed something in the Supreme Court, and let's wait and see what happens. Hi, Kumar. Welcome back. Good evening in Casemiro. Good evening, Blue. Welcome back, guys. Renal asks, what's your take on newly passed sports bill and how it's going to affect our football? Is it better or worse? It is bad. I think, again, there are certain elements in it which are important. I think the more important bill, which is less discussed, is the anti-doping bill. I think that is important, that the doping bill, that the NADA, National Anti-Doping Agency, that is going to be given a priority. I think that's very, very important in my opinion. And then on the other side, if I look at the whole development of things at this moment in time, the sports bill, it's trying to bring uniformity. My fear with the current version of the sports bill is that I think that the danger is in the way that it's structured and the way it is now out there. What kind of an influence does it have, right, in regard to government potential intervention, right? It does say that, the IOC potentially, or Global Sporting Federation, in that sense, FIFA, have control over what happens in a respective sport. But to me, the problem at the end of the day is how do we ensure that the independence of the sporting bodies is guaranteed? And to me, that to some extent is a little danger in the bill. It does, do we call it Babu culture or something? It strengthens that. It does have a certain level of representation of athletes, which I am actually honestly, I question that, because I do think that it is part of our problem when we think that athletes will know better what is good for a sport or not. So this is a very big thought process that I see in a lot of people, that they think that, if you've been an ex-athlete or you're a coach or something, you understand better how a sports operate. No. yeah, it is something that needs to be looked at, right? So therefore, for me, good that it's passed, but let's see if it's going to get passed in a Rajya Sabha before the end of the monsoon session. But yeah, do Indian politicians care about sports? That's the other question that I think that needs to be discussed. But let's wait and see what happens. Kalyan Chaube's statement made in an interview was disgusting and blaming everyone except him and AIFF operation. As a club must be lobbying for their man as new president. What is your take? The ISL clubs have their own share of the blame, Kumar, and who should be the man of the ISL that they should be lobbying for? I don't know. Again, this we are in this mess because yeah, it's yeah, what to say. The less I say, the better, and everyone has their share in this situation. Again, you cannot. He has 1 point, uh, 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 you know, for me, there are potential right persons, but are they linked to these persons who are there? Maybe not, and that is something that needs to be looked at. Sorry. Hey Vikram, I am good. Again, my allergies are a little bit more, so sorry. I'll be doing a few breaks during the show. Happy to see women football grow. I hope men's team will learn some things from them and learn how to play for your country. What's important, not your club, its country. Vikram, I don't agree with your last point. What's important, not your club, it's your country. No, it's both, right? And I'll tell you why. The country is about honor and respect. The club pays you the salary, not only in Indian context, in a global context. So therefore, there are two sides of the things. If you're not earning as such from your club football, and there are, semi-pros, amateurs who play for certain national teams, then football playing for national team becomes a problem. So therefore, I think both the sides need to be looked at. And also don't forget, I know someone was arguing with me yesterday, telling me, oh, you know what, money, this, that, everything, it needs to be more, it needs to be here, it needs to be there. And it's like, what are we talking about? The money is being spent on Indian football at the moment. If we spend it wisely, a lot of things could have been done. As per Bimal Ghosh, Khalid Jamil knows Indian players more than Stefan or Habas, or Steven or Habas, and have no international experience will not be a problem. Blue, it shows me the lack of understanding, that these guys have. They live in their own dream world, la la land, and again, it is an embarrassment. And again, I'm looking forward to next time I see them, and we'll have a nice discussion on this, because it is just shameful to see how Bimalda, Armando, Shabir Bhai, and Viju Bhai influenced this whole thing in a way. What to say, right? Woman, hi. Did you see Kalyan's statement which says Indian clubs to blame for failure? That shows as to what a mindset is. Of course, Woman, I've seen it, I've read it. There are two sides of it. Kalyan sees no blame on the AIFF on anything, right? Everything is okay, hunky dory, okay. And on the other side, everybody else is to blame. When, for example, the women's thing, they're claiming complete credit, and also some under 13 program and whatever with the government. And I was like, heh. So that program started last year. Is now the end result is the under 20s qualifying for the under 20 women's Asian Cup. So I don't know. It makes no sense. But again, on the other side, I also say yes, the clubs have to take some part of the blame of what is the situation at this moment in time, because they could have done certain things in a different way and it didn't, right? So therefore, for me, there is a point in there, right? The clubs. I remember when I told them a while back, what to think, what is happening. didn't take it seriously. And again, we've discussed it a lot on this channel that they were happy as long as Reliance is running the system in the way. And now we are in the situation we are in. Hey, Ochud, was the sports bill passed in Parliament? Yes, Ochud, was passed in the Lok Sabha. And and Akash as well. So today it was passed in the Lok Sabha. Let's see if it gets cleared in the Rajya Sabha before they close the monsoon session. Reynolds says, Rahul Mehra said we need more ex-sports persons as head of federation, but this is a bad take as we already seen a lot of ex-people make it top and failing badly. Reynolds, again, with all respect to someone like Rahul Mehra, who's fighting, so to say, to get the wrong people out of sporting federations, but your take on this, to me, is totally wrong. And to me, again, Kalyan Chaubey to me is the best example of not wanting an ex-sports person to be in a sporting federation or even being in the IOA. Add P. Usha to the list. So therefore, for me, realistically, there are certain things where I'd say, very difficult. And we'll have to wait and see what happens. But to me, this whole thing that he's been trying to fight for, more representation of sports person, to me, doesn't work for me. The sports bill wasn't even discussed. I want to know what they think about it as they give statement on sports once and more. Bro, they don't think anything. Again, this sports bill is built in such a way that there is indirectly more government control on sporting federations. That's the whole thing. So, is it a good step? Some will say yes, some will say no. But it's very difficult to really come up with a sensible answer to this current scenario, because we are in such a mess at the moment that if I'm going to talk about how we're gonna get out of this, then the sports bill, I mean, you need to at least talk about it. But the question is, the people over there, are they really the people who need to be talking about it? Is any of us going to Supreme Court when? Blue, it depends on what the AIFF does. I think the clubs want to go because I think the clubs realized after the meeting also that that the AIFF is playing for time. The question is with the that the AIFF doesn't want to go, right? Because it extends the tenure of this current AIFF. But I think all of the top guys know that if they move out, the likelihood of them coming back is 0.0%, right? But again, the clubs were sleeping. Again, I think it's good that they're active now, but are they really talking with one voice? I'm hearing different things also amongst the clubs. So again, it's the stakeholders don't talk with one voice, and that's to me one of the biggest problems in Indian football. Under 23 squad, any update? Abhijit, the squad has assembled, but because the Durand Cup is on, those who are still in the Durand Cup have not released players. So some of the teams who are out of the Durand Cup are going to start releasing players. And again, congratulations to the AIFF once more with their perfect scheduling. Again, they've been masters in scheduling messes. And this is another situation where they've got themselves into with having the Durand Cup at such a long extended period. Some of the teams, again, and the crazy part is that some of the players are not even playing, right? Some of the players are not even playing. And again, very, very weird. Ochud says AIFF statement about under 20 women's success feels like a propaganda. Ochud, look at the way that they've worded their letters in the recent past, in the last few weeks. Look at the way they've tried to move forward in those things, and it's a big problem. In my opinion, it's a big problem. Everything seems to be like defending, we're doing a good job. They're very, very lucky to have had success with the women and in the under 20s women. Let's be very, very clear about it, right? This is to some extent the success of the old AIFF and Mr. Thomas Dennerby. Under 17 World Cup, right? This is some of the players that were there, or some of the players were scouted from that system at the time. But hey, Are you going to give credit to those people? No, you won't. You take all the credit, right? Do you think FC Goa can get a positive result against Al-Seeb? Because Al-Seeb is a competitive side. They have players from Oman national team. I think it'll be a tough call. Brendan, it's a 50-50 game. Goa has an advantage home. But Goa have not played any competitive games, and so that makes it difficult, right? So therefore, for me, it's a difficult one. But the only advantage is in the sense of that the league in Oman only starts next week, so that's the only good thing. Their last match was the final of the Oman Super Cup, which they lost 4-5 on penalties against Al Shabaab. So therefore, that's the only advantage that I see, that Al Seeb also has not got any, except that one match. They're not in the league season rhythm yet. What's the solution for this mess going in a football team getting more salary than most of the top Asian countries? How can we motivate them to give 100% to the national team? The right coach. Vikram, the first thing you have to find out, is I think that someone needs to talk to the players, to speak about mentality and other things. We need to work on those things, right? That's the, so therefore, let's wait and see what happens. The sports bill has been passed in Lok Sabha. Yes, Saurav, we spoke about it. Is Coach Pai one of the sensible guys you think deserves the TD of AIFF future? He's one of the sensible guys. Does he want to go to the AIFF? I don't think, given the current scenario, I don't think so. But yes, Brad surely should be a candidate for that role. According to some guys, sports bill is discussed with IOC and is made to bid 2036 Olympics. So according to them, government intervention on independent sporting bodies is approved by IOC. Blue, as I said, you're laughing or whining. The point is, it is incredible. Again, 2036, the Indian government thinks that we are in touch and we're talking, and IOC side is like, okay, are you, just sort your house in order, get some more medals. And it's like, hey, listen, your next Olympics are in 2028, so you're not going to get medals more before that, right? So I don't know. Kalyan saying he's not responsible for the current scenario of SAS is saying, right, sir, maybe not 100% his fault, but 50%. Ogni, again, don't put percentage to it. He has his share blame of it. AIFF has its share blame of it because they didn't extend the contract. Again, everybody involved has their some sort of share in this sad situation, sad scenario. And let's wait and see what happens. Looking at yesterday's second half performance to 20 girls, we shouldn't complain about having no luck. Roshan, we've had luck. The women's, the under 20s have had luck in this tournament, right? If Myanmar score 2 goals, don't concede 2 goals against Indonesia, you don't know if it's, so therefore, let's wait and see. Vimal Ghosh got credit of advising about national team coach selection. Never managed any club other than small CFL clubs. Akash, I think you're mistaking Bimal Ghosh. Bimal Ghosh is the former head coach, long-time head coach of Air India. So he's more, I don't even know if he coached in Kolkata. He's from Nagpur originally, and he's coached more in Maharashtra and Mumbai than he's coached anywhere else. So I don't know. So therefore, he's, Sanju Pradhan, Nirmal Chetri, all these guys are some of his finds. SB Sports Extreme says Mr. Kalyan's statement and excuses a little bit of childish and making fool of himself. Even layman can tell a collective failure of Mr. Kalyan and its in Super Cup AFC Sport Online. Seriously. Yeah. What more to say? I mean, you say it. Is FC Goa's a single leg? Yes, it is a single leg. It will only take place in Goa. So, he is mainly. This match is a one-off, and again, Goa have the advantage, so they utilize that advantage, right? That home advantage, and get something out of this game. So let's hope FC Goa does, and it helps our football. More than his yes man wants to bankrupt Indian government, someone must show him what happened to Greece or Brazil after Olympic. Akash, I think we are on a they're on a different trajectory. So those examples are right of yours, but do they really care would be my question. Do you think Indian kids cry things like they didn't get ball, boots, etc.? But from what I've seen, a lot of kids got better lives compared to what a passenger Syrian kid had got through. Well, if you want to do that comparison, yeah, yeah, with all the struggles, yes. Vimal Ghosh, Coach Toliganj, yeah, but Akash, his claim to fame is Air India in the NFL over I don't know how many years, 10, 12 years. So his coaching Taliganj Ogragami is not his claim to fame. Vimal also worked in Mumbai with Khalid, right? In Air India, yes, Khalid Jamil was one of his players. Vikram says best choice was Steven, but not AIFF doesn't want to take one right decision. Why Khalid did he have national experience? No. Did he have any kind of experience with U17, U20, U20 national team? No. Yeah, Vikram. But that's the, just like seniors, U20 women team needs improvement. I saw the second half yesterday. Our left back was very shaky. Any better team will exploit it easily. Achut, be it the seniors or be it the under 20s, the Indian women's teams at Asian level could struggle, right? So we like it or not, that's the current reality, right? So therefore, we'll have to perform at the top of what we can. Again, we've had a lot of luck in the qualifiers, and then again, how much improvement can you make in the next 6, 7, 8 months? That's the challenge for both the women and the under 20s. It is a great. So but now we have to face competition, and can we evolve and develop fast enough? Do you want to see Goa and ACL2 stronger competition, or AFC Challenge League where they can get far? Roshan, I think there are two sides of the story. I think ACL2 would be better. My concern with FC Goa is whatever happens, if there's no clarity on the ISL, will they play later on in the year? Right? That's a question. I think that we need to ask about all teams. I think this is a question which hasn't been thought about or asked. Will FC Goa, if they win or lose, will they continue? And Challenge League, they could actually be one of the potential champions. It's like this whole discussion going on in England about Crystal Palace. They lost their cash case today because of multi-club ownership, and they will have to now play in the Europa Conference League rather than playing in the Europa League for which they qualified. And people actually saying, it might be a blessing in disguise, because in the Conference League, which is the third tier of European club football, Crystal Palace, could be a team to win the tournament. And the same applies to FC Goa. If they play ACL2, they will most probably, face tougher opposition and suffer losses most probably. While in ACL3, which is AFC Challenge League, they could face teams that they can beat, and they could actually fight for the title. So therefore, there are two sides to the story, and the question is what makes more sense for FC Goa, or even Indian football to that matter. And I'm not 100% sure which side I will pick. I'd rather see Goa play properly in the Champions League 2, if you ask me. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what happens. And so therefore, for me, it is. Let's wait and see. Did you see the interview of Harry Bol Dada Bol? No, Vikram, I haven't. To be honest, I've been busy so much. A lot of stuff that I haven't been able to watch, to be honest. Sorry. So I haven't been able to watch, and and sometimes there's so much happening. Even I want to do stuff, and I'm not. I've got so many people that I want to interview, but I'm not getting the calendars aligned. So let me see if I can do that in the coming days and all. Right, more than 25 minutes. Quick reminder: if you like the content, if you like what we're talking about, leave a like, share with other people. At the moment, 11 likes here again. And those of you who might be new, do subscribe to the channel, join our conversations, and be part of what we're talking about. And thanks as always to all of you who are supporting me. And again, it seems to be the 2010, 12, 13 mark seems to be going up and down over the last few days. So yeah, help me to grow the channel, and thanks a lot. Air India under Bimal Ghosh was a good team. Godfrey Pereira, Naushad Musa were stars in the 90s. Yeah, Khalid Jamil around the millennium mark. Even he made it to the national team before he went on to play for Mahindra United. As I said, Sanju Pradhan, Nirmal Chetri before going to East Bengal were his finds from the Governor's Gold Cup in Sikkim. A lot of Manipuri players. I remember Napoleon Singh, Uttam Singh, Samson Singh, all these guys. So Bimal Ghosh had the knack of finding these players across India. So if I'm right, the remaining Indian team qualifying tournaments are AFC Men's Asian Cup qualifications, yes, U23 Men's Asian Cup, U17, and Women's Asian Cup. Anything else? No, nothing else as far as I know. Did India always have these bad governance problems since independence? And did you think we still work out in the system with bad governance, or the Annika does well with bad governance? Well, I would have said before this, the AIFF governance is actually quite good with all its given problems, right? And to me, Mr. Dashmunshi gave it a certain structure in the late 90s, early 2000s, and that has helped us a lot. And thereafter, a lot of things happened, and Praful Patel, through Kushal Das and Nanda Dhor, gave a lot of structure to the AIFF as well as the I-League and Leagues department. And yeah, so therefore, again, and even let's say the German FA has had its issues with the governance of the FA, so it's not an India specific problem. Is winning AFC Challenge League big thing or just a trophy? Oh, it's a big thing, right now. It's a continental competition, so therefore, of course, it's a massive thing if Indian club wins it. People here doesn't understand the beauty of Asian football. It may be nowhere near Europe, but I find it very entertaining. Exactly. Well, again, that's the problem. You understand it, you like it, others don't, right? So therefore, that's the way it sadly is. AIFF always had a problem with administration right from the beginning. Just think about it. A national league was started in 1996, which is a basic thing in a football system. Which was very right, but as I said, I think that under Mr. Rasmunshi, also under the guidance and pressure of FIFA, things happened, right? So therefore, that has to be remembered. And if I see things now, I think things are better than they were 30 years ago. But again, we've walked back a lot of things in the last 3 years, right? Or 35 months since the AIFF have come to it. I mean, just mentioning, this was the first meeting with the clubs in our 35 months. It's like, yeah, but that's, Kalyan writing that and all that, like, or saying that. It's like, but that is not a positive for you. That's actually, in my opinion, a negative. Why didn't you meet the clubs, right? Even the I-League clubs will tell you, we didn't meet the AIFF that often. So therefore, these are issues, in my opinion, that could have, should have been addressed. And we, at the moment, we surely have a governance issue in the federation, and that's something which, at the federation level, no one seems to be willing to agree to or willing to accept that is a huge problem in our system, and therefore, I think ACL competition group should be missed rather than West Central South Asian. Southeast, Southwest will create more entertaining. FC Goa facing Parsan Badung, like I hate current format, long travel is the problem. Yeah, but Goku, if you say that a team from Lebanon will have to face a team from the east coast of Australia, it doesn't work. Asia one has to understand again, and in Europe, of course, we've also had that discussion here with the teams from Kazakhstan. If you have to play there, but in Asia it's normal, right? So therefore we have to divide it into East and West. What has happened is that in the past you used to have in the AFC Cup you used to have a South Asian zone, right? So Indian clubs normally used to play teams from Maldives, Bangladesh, Nepal, and whatever. But and then the tougher teams came in the next round. But it is the way it is. Asia is a huge continent, and therefore and we've been clubbed into the West. So therefore that's yeah, it's an advantage, disadvantage. Sometimes this way, sometimes that way. Did you see the development of a new cricket stadium in Bangalore? Meanwhile, BFS breaks down. It's always sad to see that stadium in Sachamar played there 10 years ago and it's still pathetic. Woman, again, don't compare us with cricket. I think that's the first mistake you, I, and we would all do. Because in cricket, even the government spend. The BFS has its own set of, Bangalore has its own set of problems because BFS actually is owned by the Karnataka State Football Association, right? So it's not a government thing. And they haven't been able to sort this thing out regarding the stadium for the last, I don't even know how many years, right? They've struggled with that. And for them, the biggest problem is, when was this? 2016, I think they awarded the rights to Ozone to try and rebuild the stadium. That didn't happen at the time. And JSW wanted to redevelop the stadium a few times, I think, over the years. That also hasn't happened. So therefore, for me, it's a big problem. And yeah, we are in the situation we are in, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see what they, when they will be able to do it. And then, of course, look at the Kantirawa Stadium as well. The Sri Kantirawa is even in a worse situation because the government has really not at any level bothered to take care of the stadium per se, right? The infrastructure of the stadium per se. So the question is, one day, worst case scenario in Bangalore, you've got two stadiums, but none of both can be utilized. Which would be, I don't know, but let's hope that things go better. With everything going on, an apt term is stalemate. Maybe now that sportsbook has been tabled, we might get Supreme Court verdict later this week or next week. It has not been cleared in the Rajya Sabha, so the verdict, so the bill has to be cleared in the Rajya Sabha. The question is, with the days left, will it be cleared in the Rajya Sabha before the end of the monsoon session? So therefore, let that be cleared. I think if I understand the process right, if it's cleared in the Rajya Sabha, then it is cleared as a bill. It's only cleared in the lower house. It still needs to be cleared. So my understanding is, one second, what was I reading earlier today? Someone sent it to me. So you have to clear a bill in the Lok Sabha first. So first it is introduced in both houses of parliament, and then it is pushed to the cleared in Lok Sabha and then cleared in Rajya Sabha. So a bill which was cleared quickly, with the Manipur Goods and Service Tax Amendment Bill of 2025, was cleared in the Lok Sabha on the 7th, so last Friday, and then was cleared, 7th was last Thursday, and was cleared today in the Rajya Sabha. And the National Sports Governance Bill and the National Anti-Doping Amendment Bill, those were cleared today by the Lok Sabha, and that needs to be pushed on to the Rajya Sabha. So let's wait and see if that happens in this short span of time, and then we'll have to see. Good evening, Dark Knight. Welcome back. Durand Cup quarterfinal. Football India, you know what? I have not watched any Durand Cup per se. I've just watched a few highlights. I've actually not bothered. I would have to, this thing, what I always hate to say, I actually have to check up and see who've actually qualified for Durand Cup, because we're facing so much of crisis in football that the Durand Cup, to me, okay, in Group A, East Bengal have made it. Group B, Mohun Bagan top, Diamond Harbour second. Group C, it is Jamshedpur. Army knocked out despite 6 points. In Group D, big surprise, Bodoland FC ahead of ITB, Police and Punjab FC. Group E, Northeast United and Shillong Lajong have made it to the knockout rounds. And Group F, Real Kashmir have made it. So as per the rankings of second place teams, with 6 points plus 7 goals, Shillong Lajong, Diamond Harbour 6 points plus 4, and then Namdari FC with 6 points plus 3, and Indian Army plus 2 lose out on the quarterfinals. And okay, the quarterfinals draw is supposed to happen. So one thing that people seem to say is that East Bengal and Mohun Bagan will play the final quarterfinal in Kolkata. So let's wait and see if that happens. I don't, you know, so therefore let's wait and see what happens. Yeah, and you're saying Mohun Bagan versus East Bengal, Shillong Lajong versus Bodoland FC, Jamshedpur FC versus Diamond Harbour FC, Northeast versus Real Kashmir. Okay, Indian Navy and ITBP are out. So, yeah, interesting if it does come to that. Vaman says, sir, to be honest, I don't think anyone has followed Durand Cup. Vaman, those who care about Indian football have not wondered about the Durand Cup. But I know from a lot of people in Kolkata that it has supposedly been followed. And they said, whatever happens, we're fine with it. Khalid gets 2+1 contract. Dark Knight still not confirmed. I think that's what they're working towards too. But it does again, some people have said this confirmed, but I haven't heard a confirmation yet. So let's wait and see. Because I think his contract dissolvement with Jamshedpur FC at the moment is being discussed. So does the sports bill specifically mention about getting Indian origin players, not just in football? No, man. It says interact with the diaspora, right? So what does interact with the diaspora mean? Nothing, right? It is very generic in my opinion, and we have to take it as very generic in my opinion, and therefore it has nothing to do with. We don't need to go. Go gaga or gung ho. Let's wait and see what happens. Do you think Khalid will call up players playing in currently Durand Cup national team, or will be the old copy-paste team one was too much? Coco, I have no clue. I honestly, again, the question is the players who've been out of the system, who are not training, playing, let's say the BFC players, what kind of form are they in? I honestly, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't be able to tell you. So therefore, for me, difficult to say. Will he copy paste? I think he'll take a lot of players. I think there are the usual Khalid suspects who might be called up. So therefore, yeah, I'm already looking forward to the team selection, and then certain players, people celebrating it, but a lot of people complaining about it. Shakshan says Kalyan gave interview to PTI, and I think 70% AIFF is responsible for MRMS and 30% Mr. Bajaj. I said earlier when someone asked me to give a percentage, explanation to it, I didn't say that, because to me it doesn't matter. These gentlemen and others are, and therefore for me, yeah, they're at fault why we are in this situation, and let's wait and see what happens. I honestly don't know what is going to happen, but we are in the situation we are in, and therefore I will wait and see what the outcome is. I'm interested to see if the clubs really go to the Supreme Court or not, because I think that is something that is at the moment looking more and more likely, and then let's see, because the AIFF has not really taken action on the things that they really need to take action on, and that's a problem in itself. So let's wait and see what happens on that front, right? That's it. Sorry, a little bit of allergies today. So again, running nose as well. Yeah, so sorry for that. Khalid accepted the coach's job. Uchut, he wants it. That's clear. He wants it under his terms. That's another thing which is clear to me. Have the AIFF been able to sort the thing out in their own interest? If they really give him a 2+1 year contract, then you know that the AIFF are in a situation of, what, we've named him, now we have to appoint him, if you get my point. That's, to me, the summary of this whole situation, because otherwise, you've put yourself under a pressure because you've not discussed beforehand, or you've not even formulated what you want to give as a potential contract to whoever's interested. So therefore, for me, Um, yeah, it doesn't speak for the AIFF, and if Khalid gets a long-term contract, and again, we get some bad results in the AFC Asian Cup qualifiers, are we in March in a situation that a new AIFF will then have to, say thank you very much because you want to do a rebuilding of the squad in the summer of 2026? So there's a lot of things which don't make sense in my opinion, and therefore it looks like Khalid will become the coach. Interesting to see if he becomes the coach, and yeah, that's the thing. What about Anwar Ali saga? Raj, I've actually given up. I don't even know when the last hearing on the matter was. What has also happened to relegation in the I League? Is the I League actually happening? So all of these things, that should have been taken care of, and this and that, because of the MRA situation. This is the AIFF topic. Um, if we look at all of those things, right? If we look at, do we know if and when the I League will happen? I mean, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Right? We are stuck in a time zone, in a warp where we don't know when, what, how will happen. I feel that's a huge danger at the moment. So therefore, it's we'll have to wait and see. Boria wrote a long piece about the need for a sports tribunal set in the current situation in football. See, the tribunal, if it's like an Indian version of CAS, then we can talk about it. For me, I'm not sure. And I'm not sure, because for a sports tribunal, you need to have the right people with an understanding of sport to be sitting on that tribunal. Just being an ex-judge or an ex-justice doesn't qualify you, for me, in my opinion. We'll have to wait and see. Was Priyaranjan Das Munshi, Praful Patel, two of the best ever presidents in the history, and kind of one of the worst you've seen? Again, I only have seen those three, so therefore I don't know if they're two of the best. Then the best, the worst. I know. I don't know. What I've seen, Kalyan the worst, yes, there's no doubt about it. But best, I don't know. I don't know the earlier ones. No. National team job will be great on Khalid's CV. He don't care about AFC Asian Cup qualifiers. Dark Knight, does he need this on his CV? I don't know. He'll get a club here and there anyway. So I don't know. In a country where huge fraud is accused in voters list, how big is age fraud? It is bigger than the voter list fraud. Will Khalid continue till Jamshedpur FC Durand exit Football India? Nobody knows. Supposedly this week the camp will start at some stage. Nobody knows which players will be released. No, the whole problem is that the clubs don't want to release players. The AIFF has got itself in a situation that you are not getting, and let's wait to see what happens. Do you think N.A. Harris can become AIFF president in future? Do you think he's a strong candidate? He's been around now for a while. He's linked to the current AIFF. He's linked to Satya being Deputy General Secretary. I don't know if people will forget. Again, he doesn't belong to the party in power. That's also a fact. So could be, maybe, I don't know. Why nowadays everyone interested in Durand Cup rather than ISL future? Raj, I don't know if everyone is interested in. I think a lot of people just see we are 13, 14, 15 people. Sometimes it's going up a little higher, right? A lot of people that have been chatting with us on this channel over the last couple of years, right? We've grown a community to a certain extent. They're not here, right? So a lot of people, I fear, are giving up on Indian football, are not really following Indian football anymore the way that they used to in the past. And that, to me, is a very, very worrying sign. And I don't know. In Kolkata, surely there's an interest. And now, of course, with the derby on Sunday. yeah, it'll be interesting to see, right? But otherwise, is there really an interest? I don't know. I can't tell you if that's the case, right? So therefore, for me, yeah, it's it's a very, very, very difficult. I don't know if I've honestly, and I can't tell you that. Do we have qualified sports lawyers or same as appeals committee? We have qualified sports lawyers, but the appeals committee doesn't have lawyers, and it has judges and ex people working and ex players, ex administrators in there, right? So yes, we have qualified sports lawyers in India, some very good ones actually. But are they really involved in these kind of things? Will they be part of the sports tribunal? Sports tribunal made up of judges or justices, right? Or former, most probably, right? So, yeah, again, no one has to prove his or her qualification to be part of that tribunal, and therefore, that is, I think, where we're already faltering in regard to making that tribunal successful. I think that's honestly that's a huge problem in my opinion. Right, more than 46 minutes. Once more, a quick reminder: if you haven't, do like, share. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe to Arun Foot here on YouTube. 16 likes so far. Thank you very much for that. If you're new, listening to the conversation, you're liking the conversation, yeah, subscribe. And then you can ask your questions as well. I'll try and answer your questions as I've done, what I've tried to do. And do watch the short videos that I try and make on a daily basis. Today I made something on the Indian under 20s. Yesterday, what the AIFF, in my opinion, needs to do for the future of the ISL. Before that 11 clubs reach out to the AIFF on the Supreme Court. The AIFF, FSDL, ISL clubs meeting, the Khalid situation. Again, a lot of stuff on ISL, AIFF, CAFA, and yeah. Again, a little earlier, video 985 is my 15th Desi Ballers anniversary video with Zoev in London outside of the Olympic Stadium. So therefore, do watch those. I mean, some of the stuff. I mean, a friend of me asked me today, a German friend, a very good old school friend, actually, a kindergarten friend who I know for over 40 years. So did Xavi in the end sign for India? Again, someone who's very football interested. We often watch FC Remscheid together here locally. Again, we've gone back to being the laughing stock of world football, and that's something. Yeah, very embarrassing, very, very embarrassing. And then he asked me, "Oh, what's the situation?" Again, school friend, right? Just generally asking, and then I don't have answers, right? That's very embarrassing. Was Iraq winning 2007 AFC Asian Cup one of the beautiful stories of football? Was never really did something much with limited resources. I mean, in tournaments, if you survive the group stage, the knockouts, something is always possible. Look at Greece 2004 winning the Euros in Portugal. Nobody would have betted that Greece could win it under Otto Rehhagel. Yeah, so therefore it was. I don't think that the limited resources point is good. Iraq has always had decent football teams. Iraq has played the World Cup in the past, but again with war, there's that everything. It was a good story. It was a nice story, but yeah. Is our U17 women's team of similar quality as U20 and seniors? Which should, I think, little less, if I see it right. Because we don't have a system, for the under 17s per se. Again, as I said also early on, I said the under 20s have a big advantage because some of those girls have been around since the under 17 FIFA under 17 Women's World Cup days. So that's another point that we should not forget. So therefore, I'm interested to see. And of course, you've got Uzbekistan, Kyrgyz Republic. Difficult. Let's see. As the Supreme Court is delaying judgment, are we moving towards more vulnerable situation to FIFA ban less time to overcome it? Raj, the whole Supreme Court judgment, maybe it's delaying, maybe they were waiting for the sports bill to pass. Half of it is done, you know, uh, you know, and I don't know, with the ban, it's very interesting to see because they've said certain things, others are saying certain other things. Let them pass whatever they think is the right constitution for the AIFF, and then we can have a conversation. Because I think nobody outside of the people involved know what the final constitution of the AIFF will be. We cannot force Supreme Court. We're just following whatever Indian football we have. We watch or not watching Durand Cup won't solve our issues. Football India, watching is not the same thing. I think if a lot of people tell me, we watch it for the sake, Indian football, this and that. If we're doing things for the sake of Indian football, then people need to raise their voice. A lot of fans are saying, everything is right, ruin happening, everything is fine. I don't think that's the point, and therefore for me it is. Yeah, we can say, oh yeah, it's running. What's the worry? What's the concern? Uh, Everything is right. Uh, and therefore for me that's part of the issue. Do you think the Malabar football legacy and Kolkata legacy are all overrated? You haven't been moved forward in the last 30 years, same place, but people only have big talks about the legacy. Daniel, the Kolkata legacy has been around for a century, right? And yes, Kolkata Maidan football has moved forward. The Malabar football legacy is something I'm hearing from you. So I'm not that well versed on the so-called Malabar football legacy because Kerala, to me, football, there's a craze about football in Kerala. We've had a lot of quality players coming out of Kerala, but before the Blasters, I would have to go back to FC Cochin in 1997, which created a sort of a hype. But otherwise, what is the Malabar football legacy in the sense that just that Malappuram has a fan interest and that is it sevens? That would be then my question to you. And I was living in Germany, never experienced anything else than getting smiles and laughter about Indian football. Yeah, I'm not sure I mean, um, let's put it this way: you're lucky because you come from a fan perspective. I come from sometimes again fan perspective with a friend, but there are people who work in football, and you know, yeah. Let's see. It's yeah, good stories are rare to come by. Kalyan Chaubey says the current condition is not their fault, but because of some self-proclaimed reformer. Top 10 Prime TV, yeah. I mean, he's not fully wrong on that. That's true, but he's not willing to accept that he has made mistakes or they have made mistakes as an AIFF. And this is something. If he ever would say, you know what, I made a mistake or we made a mistake, I think people would give him credit for that. If he had said, now it's too late because now he's just defending himself and the AIFF. But if he'd done in the past, I think, yeah. Do you think clubs should have done their part, like a proper talk with the AIFF and FC? Of course, no. They all. There is nobody who is not at fault for this situation. The main blame goes first AIFF and then FSDL, but also the clubs. I've said it on the show, right? That the clubs have been happy because someone has been organizing the league for them and everything was fine, so they didn't bother. That is the main problem, in my opinion, that they didn't want to bother, they didn't need to bother. Things were happening for them, and therefore, it's, we are stuck in this situation because things haven't moved in the direction that they should have over the last decade or more. Therefore, for me, that's a big problem, and therefore, so therefore, that's the reality. Mr. Kalyan Chaubey want to complete his tenure cost of Indian at the cost of Indian football. I would say, Raj, yeah, looks like it, because with the sports bill introduced today, let's wait and see. I saw the news from Kerala that India under 23 are finding it hard to get players released because of Durand Cup. Yeah, Banjab, it's a problem because the AIFF has not coordinated with the clubs, and I would say that they'll get a few players now, and you're going to get who's going to send you players. Punjab FC is going to send you a few players, so that's good. And yeah, I don't know if there are any at Mohammedan, but otherwise it's a problem, right? Goa will release players, I guess, after the 13th, so they will release players on 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 um, on Thursday. But otherwise, the other teams are not, right? Because this is not coordinated. This is part of the problem that we have. Is the news of City Football Group leaving Mumbai City FC is true? Raj, we've discussed this, I think, a number of times over the last 2 weeks. I think it depends on the overall what will happen to Indian football in the next 2 weeks. If the ISL is shut down, yes, they're going. Tata bye bye. But City Football Group will not be the only one. I think all the major ones are. I see very few groups who will be willing to stay on. And if I was working in those entities, if I have to tell my owner what the reality is, that's the other problem, right? That the management guys have, because it's about their jobs and their livelihoods and about their own families besides of other people. But the reality is, you know, yeah. So uh, I don't know. It's yeah, that's the situation as it is. Can you give us a brief about one of the best thing about the sports world that will make a reasonable? I don't even know what is the best. It gives you a governance structure, but it's but that to me again, it gives you a framework, but the framework is a little dangerous because the government sort of say has some sort of access to you, but it is supposed to give you a framework. I think that general thing is most important, right? So, but otherwise, I don't even know what is good or bad in the bill, because it gives you the bill looks to me at the moment is more of a control bill in regard to the government having a say indirectly or even directly what happens in sporting federations. Goku is asking Renner what legacy playing sevens football is legacy, when if legacy would have been there if Kerala clubs didn't deserve in 80s, 90s. Playing sevens football make us international player. Goku, there is one player who's come from sevens, NP Pradeep, right? That's a very interesting story, but again, that's nearly 2 decades back. But otherwise, yeah, sevens to Kerala is like Cape football to Bengal, right? Which is an own ecosystem outside of our football ecosystem, and it drains out resources, it drains out fans, um, and it drains out players of the main system, and that is the reality, right? Punjab FC logo, says Raj. Yeah, it's what I've been told. The idea behind it from Punjab FC looks like an American college, template, wanted by the owner. And if I look at the logo, I would have, what I would have liked to have seen if you could have combined the old and what you've done as a new and merged it into one. That would be, in my opinion, would have been the best you could have done. Use the crest and put the logo in the middle, put the lion in the middle. I think that would have been, yeah, a good idea to try and do something. But again, yeah, we are where we are. But again, this it looks like an American college sporting logo, more than a football club entity. AI can make better logo than this. Cuckoo, yeah, maybe not. But again, as I say, for me, if I could merge the old with the new and make one, that would have been the best, if you ask me. Because again, I like the crest of what was Round Glass Punjab and then Punjab Sea, and that combination most probably would have been a strength to create something very, very special. But yeah, they decided to go the way they have with the logo, and yeah, all the best, I can only say. But again, these are again examples, right, of ownership decisions about Indian football, or generally in sports. It's you need, and they have people in the Punjab Sea set up, people who understand sports, who understand football, and yeah, their advice on these matters is sadly not taken, and therefore we're ending up with these kind of examples, and that's to say the least, I would say, a disturbing trend, right? So therefore, for me, it's all the things that are happening, could have been handled differently, made better, but we are where we are, and it makes it make it very, very difficult. And we are where we are at the moment, right? So therefore, yeah, let's hope things changes. Good evening, Simon. Welcome back. Kolkata, Kobe, Ashbin. Top 10 Prime TV, not sure. Maybe this month, maybe next month, but hope to be back later this month or next month, and then we'll see what happens. American college team logo have more standard than this. Goku, yeah, you might, as I say, they combine the two things and this doesn't. And again, I'm just trying to explain how they came to this conclusion. I'm not a fan of the logo, but that is where this logo has gone. And yeah, I just I'm not convinced. Like you all, I'm not like I like the old one. I like the old crest of Punjab FC. I really like. I mean, I like the original Roundgrass Punjab logo because that had weight and yeah, and that just looks like video game template. Yeah, maybe it looks like it. Yeah, it looks like it. Again, it's coming from an American system. I'm not a fan of it. My nose is terribly blocked. I'll just quickly go and clear it once, and I'll be back in a few seconds. Just there. Sorry, guys. Yeah, my nose is fighting with me a little bit. Best logo change was by Mumbai City FC. Yeah, that's a very good example. If you think, we looked at, when in 2014, we looked at what, 200 different logos, and there were certain things that Ranbir Kapoor wanted, certain things. Bimal Parekh, as the other co-owner, wanted certain things in the logo, which were incorporated, and now, yeah, and then the logo got an upgrade, and yeah, it became a crest. So therefore, I like the old logo, but I feel the newer one of Mumbai City looks even better. I don't indulge in not to support violence, but it's only reserved for Mr. Kalyan Chaub and his foolish propaganda. I don't usually indulge in violence, but when I hear the words of Kalyan Chaub, I can't resist, my blood boils. Simon, the problem is, I understand where you're coming from and what your feeling is, because I think a lot of people are what to say, are not on the wavelength of the president of the All India Football Federation, and those who understand football to some extent or even a little will know that what Kalyan is saying, what he's trying to depict and showcase and highlight, doesn't really work, right? At the end of the day, the problem is for him and for everybody is what are we talking about, right? To me, and that's the most important thing, that when we are talking about this, it is very, very sad, because it's always defending himself and AIFF, and actually not even defending himself, he's praising himself, right? I've done this, we have done this. It's like, And again, it could be his downfall in the end. That nobody trusts him. His capabilities of being a sports administrator. Yeah, let's see. Can an Indian player just in German lower division? Many Afghan ex-national team players used to apply their trade in lower German players. Football India, there's one problem which you forget. A lot of these Afghan players didn't just come to Germany to play football. They were either born in Germany or came as refugee as small kids and grew up in the German system. I don't see Indian players being able to play in the lower levels of German football. I mean, I just saw yesterday a game in a lovely stadium, KAF Zöhringen, and former Bundesliga team, former club in the UEFA Cup, former German Cup winners, over I don't even know, over 2,000 people I think at the stadium. And if I see that and see the quality of the players, I don't see any Indian player being able to cope at that level. That's 50 of German football. Punjab officially transformed into a kabaddi team. Sad, says Simon. Yeah, looks, let's see. Why Indian clubs don't take AFC competition seriously? Dark Knight, I think some of the clubs have done or do, and some you will say not. I mean, at least, Mohun Bagan seems to have not taken it seriously, but Mr. Goenka says something else, right? So that's an example. Mumbai City has taken it seriously. FC Goa seems to be taken seriously. Even East Bengal over the years has taken it seriously. BFC have taken it seriously. Yeah. So therefore, that's the case. Punjab FC logo looks like clip art. Yeah, Dark Knight, sadly. The women's game is the only thing clinging me to Indian football. I just hope AIFF doesn't mess up this momentum. Simon, yeah, you have a point. You have a very, very big point at the moment. It's very disappointing to see. But these are, as I always say again and again and again and again, the realities of Indian football. We're stuck in this world and things aren't getting better. And the women's success is a breath of fresh air. And I don't know. It is keeping us alive as Indian football fans. Goku says to Simon, hey Simon, what do you call a Call of Duty player who always prepared, ready, or ghost? And Simon, Ghost as is my nickname. Wow, okay. Never played those games, to be honest. The only computer game that I've played over the years, and I haven't played in a while, would be FIFA, actually, to be very honest. But it's very, very sad. The state we find ourselves in at this moment in time is just disappointing, disheartening, because we are not moving in a direction where we can say, you know what, we're doing things in the right way, and we're hoping things will move in the right way, and football will grow. Like this is the problem, and so therefore, let's see. Nihar Maniram joined the Slovenian second-tier club youth ranks last year, and this year he has been promoted to be a part of their first team squad. Happy, at least some do have the gunners. Any words, any boy who goes abroad and tries his luck is great. Will he be successful? We'll have to wait and see. No, I mean that's the, so therefore, it's always a challenge. And will be interesting to see what happens, right? So therefore, for me, always a challenge to see if the player can do something, and let's see what he can do. Players to watch out before FC Goa. I'll see also your whole match prediction. So that if I look at FC Goa at the moment as a squad, we have our old and our new suspects, I would say. Ika Guruchena, Borja Herrera will surely be interesting to see. Javi Silverio joining them is an interesting one because Manolo knows him. A lot of people in the past would have said, ooh, what is he doing there? I'm interested to see what Paul Moreno can do, replacing Uday. Uday has been one of the best centre backs in the ISL over the last few years, be it in Hyderabad and FC Goa. And of course, David Timur. What can he add to that midfield? Does a Harsh Patre, who's coming from Bangalore FC, can he add something? Amongst the Indians, of course, keeper Ritik Tiwari, breakout season last year. What can he do? What happens with Bryson Fernandez, right? So yeah, let's wait and see where this whole thing goes, and I'm interested to see. I hope FC Goa can do something with this, right? So therefore, for me, it will be very, very interesting to see where this whole if Manolo can get a result with this team. This dull, dim state of us, and then I look at Indonesia and Thailand. Yeah, Sam. Please try and do a live with Ashish Nehi, Arjun Siddhant, and Ashish doing pre-show for ACL2 player for FC Goa. Yeah, I know that they're doing this. Good to see. Congratulations via this also to Khel Now that they've been able to pull this off and are gonna be doing the live. That's a big step for them, and let's wait and see. Hopefully it's successful, and Arjun Siddhant joining, very interesting. And I've spoken with Ashish. I've not followed up, so I need to do that. The other number one of NK Ravimaya Sam picture has been really not much of an impact, as he's conceded too many bad goals. Somewhere I feel Shom is on par with him. I do not watch them. Again, Angry Birds so closely. If you're watching them, good, but you will. I don't think so early in the season maybe to change keepers. I don't know if their coach is thinking about it, wants to do it. You and I will have to wait and see. I wish Som the best. Let's wait and see what happens. Is Manisha headed to East Bengal? If so, does she feel homesick, or is it something else? Simon, most probably it's money, right? I mean, despite having been in Cyprus and in Greece, even in the IWL, teams are paying a lot of money and they're looking at Asia. Manisha is a difference player. She's capable, and you have to wait and see if she decides to come back to India or if she stays in Europe. So therefore, let's wait and see if she actually joins ahead of the AFC Women's Champions League. Can you make a comparison between previous year East Bengal team participated in qualifiers this year's FC Goa team? I mean, whose squad is better not compared the two different opponents? Siddhant, I don't need to simply saying FC Goa is a much better team. From last year, what East Bengal had, yes, they did make it to again, they didn't make it to the Champions League too. Goa potentially has it in them to do it, but again, I'm also not sure with this whole Indian football situation if that's also playing in the minds of the boys, right? Again, Sandesh has spoken about it. I know from BFC that the players are, again, the system is closed at the moment, so therefore I don't know. So therefore for me and opponents, Arkadag, we're I think ICB is a stronger opponent than an opponent from Central Asia in that way. But again, they've got home advantage. So East Bengal also had home advantage, but I think FC Goa, if you ask me, is a stronger team. Why Southeast Asian players are more expensive than Australian players? I have seen some of the best Southeast Asian players from Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam. Also when the Australian trend happened in India. Very simple, that Southeast Asia has the same problem as India. You've got a limited talent base. And therefore your players are costly. The Australians are there all over the place. The Australians are the ones who are costly are playing in Europe, right? So we're not adding that factor. The ones playing in the local league in Australia are not the costliest Aussies. The costliest Aussies are playing in Europe. Don't forget, we shouldn't forget that fact, right? So that's also reality. I think positive with the sports bill thing. Simon, again, if the passing of the sports bill pushes the Supreme Court to take a decision, that would be the positive in my opinion. That's what I can think and say at this moment in time. Unbelievable women team doing all things for Indian football and its fans despite so much crisis. Salute girls, keep it up and more better now. Hope United boys also qualify next year win against RC. Yeah, let's wait and see. Again, after the women senior national team, the under 23, so therefore, let's wait and see what the under 23 boys can do and what FC Goa can do. Under 23 boys, as we discussed earlier in this video, have a problem in regard to their camp. So that's a big issue. And everything else we'll have to wait and see what happens. Nothing then happening with bail because politics is everywhere and its proper invitation never happened. Also said now is a joke. Shanrat, I said OCI depends on if the government is really serious. And if you see the way that the sports bill and all those things have been pushed this way, that way, this way, that way, yeah, very difficult to say that they're taking this seriously. And therefore, that's the reality, right? And they pushed it through today because, yeah. Let's see. Why are almost no players available for U23 camp? Durand Cup looks like the premier tournament of our country. World Cup ends within 30 days, whereas Durand Cup has no ends. Vishwajit, because, for example, this is a topic that I think the AIFF should have raised with the ISL clubs in that meeting last week, right? And they didn't because the clubs are saying, "Oh, we're playing. Stay with us. This, that, everything." Yeah. They have a football culture, interest towards the game. This is surprising her that they're facing the same problems as India. Goku, they have a much bigger interest. They have their fan culture. If you travel to Southeast Asia, I mean, I've only sadly been to Malaysia, and again, Malaysia is not even the best. I would love to go to Thailand or to Indonesia for a football game in the future. It's insane. Again, and their football was down in the dumps, especially Malaysia and Indonesia. They've, especially with overseas players, have improved. And let's see. And again, but the pool isn't big, right? That's why the overseas players have been very important. Is there thing of a priority order of cases? And Supreme heard from Ashish that there was a priority period to do so back in April, May, but was never exercised. Can this be done now? Simon, of course, there are cases which are looked at, listened at priority, and some are not. And in our case, it looks like that the football thing has been, I mean, it's been going on now for 8 years. So I don't think that it was ever a priority, so to say, for anyone, if you ask me. So yeah, sadly to say, but that's where we are at this moment in time, right? It wasn't a priority and it's not a priority, but let's see. First of all, the sports bill needs to be cleared in both houses of parliament and then it will be looked at. Supreme Court will wait it to become a law, or do you think passing laws they can give word? Zaza, they will have to wait, in my opinion, again, I might be wrong, until the Rajya Sabha clears it and it becomes law. If the Supreme Court verdict is delayed so much, what will happen to Indian football? Goku? Nothing. We will have to wait and see. And the danger is, the longer this drags on, the real danger is, it is that the season 25-26 is in danger of not happening. That is my personal biggest fear. Watching some of the ASEAN Cup matches gives a good excitement. There's always some drama. The speed of the game is also good. Football India, ASEAN, Cup matches, senior, under 23s, whatever. The excitement, full stadiums, crazy fans, is brilliant. I would have loved if, there was, you see it to some extent if tournaments are held in Nepal in the SAF region, or even I've seen some in the past in the Maldives, or even, this is something that I think that South Asia needs to have as rivalry, like Southeast Asia has, right? That's a very, very important thing, in my opinion, that you need to have in football. Right, more than 1 hour, 20 minutes, 80 minutes of this live on a Monday evening. 22 likes so far. Thank you very, very much. Do like, share, get other people involved in our conversations. And if you are listening, you're not a subscriber, do subscribe to the channel. With 2,810 at the moment. Again, I've been 2009, 10, 11, 12, then drop back, then go back to 12. So there seems to be sort of a stumbling. I need your support, guys, to grow this channel. People have been telling me that you can sort of say hype videos of mine. Do that as well. Please support the channel as much as they can. And again, thank you to all of you, all of those of you who have been supporting me over these years. And without you, again, I like these interactions, as I've said. I enjoy these conversations a lot. But again, I need your support to grow this. I cannot do this on my own. I need your support, and I know I need to do a lot more interviews with people. I need to do that, but do support the channel, and thanks a lot. Let's see what happens. The fans add to the spice, too highly passionate. Simon, yeah, we as I like to say, we can learn a few things, and we can learn a lot, I think, from Southeast Asia in regard to passion, love for football, and that's needed, right? That is needed for us, and I hope we learn a few things from them and take it forward in the right way. I think that's very, very important. It looks like they will pass in Rajya Sabha tomorrow, or maybe after Independence Day. Shraddha, are they going to pass in Rajya Sabha tomorrow? I've heard that this thing might move into the next session. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not an expert on how the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha clears its bills. Let's wait and see. I mean, they pushed it through without a discussion, and that's also a problem, in my opinion. I think the sports bill or the amendments to it should have been discussed in Parliament. Moreover, Southeast Asia have infrastructure. Also, when this kind of competition, South Asia lacks infrastructure facilities. If India have anything, Sri Lanka have it. Same goes to others. Cool. That's not right, right? You have that small national stadium in Male. Okay, it's a 15,000 stadium, but again, when India's played them and they've had a full house, that's it. Look at the Dashrath Stadium in Kathmandu, where you've had insane support. Look at where India is going to select next year to face Bangladesh. I think that will be a hostile atmosphere. It's us, right? Salt Lake Stadium. We've also had great atmospheres against Bangladesh or others as well. So Bangalore, SAF 2 years ago, great atmosphere in the semis and the finals. So I don't think. But the question is the level of passion. I think that's the point that we need to sort of maybe replicate. SAF can follow double leg knockouts of ASEAN women away as India versus Nepal women away will be exciting. Football India, the marketing partners of the SAF, the South Asian Football Federation, suggested a Nations League-like format, right, regarding the SAF Championship this year. And then the whole thing fell apart because India didn't want to commit. And then India had a problem of facing Pakistan with uncertainty that will India play Pakistan. And then in the end, it didn't take place at all. So therefore, these are all, as I say again and again, these are some of the realities that Indian football, Indian sports has to sadly live with. And that's the challenge. This is the challenge that Indian football faces. And therefore, for me, some of the stuff, very, very difficult. Again, it sounds interesting. But again, Indian football calendar would be blocking all of this. Here, too, it's about transfer, this transfer, that reason for Marcus downfall as a journalist. Simon, there is no downfall of Marcus as a journalist. Marcus is a experienced journalist, someone who's been around for decades. Yes, he's taken himself to a different level with all the transfer gossip and news over the last couple, 2-3 years, become like the Fabrizio Romano of Indian football. But yes, there is no big transfer news to gossip to talk about because the market is the way it is, right? I mean, it is at the moment a dead market because we don't know if the Indian Super League will happen. And as long as that is not sorted, I don't think that any of these conversations that you normally would have should need to happen, right? Because we are unable to say, will the next season of Indian football happen or not? And therefore, these are very, very disappointing times, and therefore Marcus or other people, are not talking about these things. Like, it will be difficult for like home and away matches, the tension, South Asia politics, other things, even if you want to exclude politics and other things, would be there in South Asia. Yeah, exactly. Those are politics you can't divide, and home and away. Again, football has always been played, so therefore it's never been discussed to be stopped in any way. But how do we take it forward? I think that's the whole difficulty at the moment, I think, with Indian football, and that's something which is very, 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 very disappointing to see. In this Odisha saga, who's right, who's wrong? Government's negligence, Rohan's mismanagement. Simon, there is a blame to be taken all sides. I think I wouldn't say that Rohan has mismanaged it, or Raj Atwal, or in the time where Abhikwan or the others were there. I think they came. I think it was a smart move to move from Delhi to Odisha with the support of the government, with the support of the corporate world in Odisha as well. That support has died out. Let's be very, very clear. And Rohan has raised those topics. Again, I think it might have been smarter from his point of view to go and speak with the government authorities rather than speak about these things in public. Yeah, that might be a very valid point from your perspective. But from his side, he raised the topic. He raised it at a time where people were not willing to accept certain things, and the government is not supporting football. Yeah, they again, the channels are broken down, and to me, if you ask me, we've not had my friend Aditya here, who's been defending Odisha FC for a lot. That this is not happening at the moment, right? So therefore, for me, if you ask me honestly, the government is not interested. The government wants to cut spending on football, it seems, or sports maybe in general, and therefore they are in the situation they are in. Yes, remember the buzz about McLaren to Mohun Bagan and Toral to Mumbai City FC last year and now. Yeah, Simon, exactly. I mean, McLaren, is he coming? Is he not coming? Oh, he's nearly there. No, he might go somewhere else. And then he ends up Mohun Bagan. Brilliant. Toral, I think John Toral still was a brilliant signing, but yeah, there are reasons that a player of his quality, if you see the way he touched the ball and this and that he came. And the fans also, what happens to our women's, I think, under 2017 team played against Safana Bangladesh. The environment was not that great because of the bad refereeing. And fans' accusation about in India's involvement, first time I'm seeing Concourse to Sadhana. Gugu, the good thing was that, so many people turned up to watch those games, right? I would say that, right? So in Bangladesh, in Dhaka, so many people turning up. And yes, the referees, even India versus Nepal, the refereeing has been a question. Again, we question refereeing in an Indian context, but I think you can question refereeing in a general South Asian context as well, that the refereeing in the last few years has not been good enough, right? So therefore, from my perspective, I will always say that refereeing has been an issue, and it hasn't helped. It hasn't helped Indian or South Asian football per se, and we're there where we are. And yeah, it's very, very sad to say, but this is where we are stuck. But women's football, look at not only India but even Bangladesh qualified for the under-20 Women's Asian Cup. So that's it. Because it was against Bangladesh, I don't know where is the hate coming from Bangladesh so much. Goku, there is a rivalry against us in a South Asian context. We are the big country, we are the big boys or the big girls, and the others want to beat us, right? And the rivalry is there. Hatred is coming also for what India has done or not done in a South Asian context. So yeah, it's yeah, and therefore for me, we need to look at what can we do, what we need to do to improve ourselves. And yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy, and these competitions are needed. The competitiveness is needed, in my opinion, and that is something which I think is very, very important for us, for Indian football, for us to try and move forward. Right? To me, Indian football, a lot of questions should be asked, and we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Right, 90 minutes of this Monday evening live on Arun Foot. Once more, the reminder, if you're liking the conversation, even if you're watching it afterwards, do leave a like behind, do support the channel with a share to other people that, if they want to listen to honest Indian football content, honest Indian football discussions, 24 likes, and subscribe to the channel if you're new, if you're liking it. Watch the short videos that I try and make on a daily basis. Also, something that I say, I need your support going forward for the channel to grow. Without you, um, you know, um, it is not possible. So therefore, let's see what happens. So sad to say, I don't think I'll be able to see Indian football team in World Cup unless OCIP happens. There is 25% chance. Saksham, yeah, at the moment, and let's see. I don't like this percentages of how much is it possible or not. I hope it is possible, and we'll have to wait and see. What's been Bangladesh formula for this recent successes? Peter Butler and Bangladesh FF, I would have to say Bangladesh Football Federation, Simon. Yeah, Butler, certainly the Bangladesh FF, but again, former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was been very fond. You've seen that they've been challenging India in a South Asian context for a while now, beating India also on a South. India used to be winning every SAF Women's Championship in the past. So they've built, and they're looking also at diaspora. So let's wait and see when they start bringing in players. I think Bangladesh could be moving up the ranks in Asia in women's football. Unless country performs, there's no gain for clubs. Also, everybody knows AIFF don't have the courage to ask for players, feeling if clubs ask them, they don't have answers. Vishwajit, the problem here is very simple. There are FIFA rules which apply to the A national team, the senior national team, which doesn't apply to the under 23s or other teams, or if you're outside of the window. So therefore, the biggest problem at the moment is that that the AIFF has to request the clubs to release players outside of a FIFA window because the CAFA Nations Cup is outside of a FIFA window, and they're not themselves answering other questions in regard. I mean, the clubs have a point, right? The AIFF is not willing to go to the Supreme Court and help them with the league. Why do we have the AIFF, right? It is a give and take. It's not one-way street, and that is, in my opinion, a big problem at the AIFF at this moment in time. And it'll be very interesting to see how they sort it. Again, they will get some more players in the next few days after the exit of Punjab FC from the Durand Cup and FC Goa once they play their match on Wednesday against Al Seed, and then let's see what happens. Again, that's the point. That's the challenge, I guess, we have in this situation, and therefore, it will be interesting to see what the federation does, because it needs to. Again, you need to have a working formula, and again, if I look at how you're placing competitions, if you're looking at timelines and all, at the moment, it's very bad. We are doomed because we need politicians who love football to do something in football because they have power, but sad to say, there is no one. Yeah, Saksham, that's the problem. To me, that is the thing. Or someone as a businessman who has the political context to make changes within the system. I think those are the two combinations I would say that would work. But yeah, it's a challenge that we have, and we'll have to wait and see how we can sort those. Right, that is our own challenge assess in India football. What are the chances of U17 women's also qualifying? They're there. They are there, but again, going to Kyrgyz Republic, facing them, and Uzbekistan. And to me, the under 17s most probably are not as developed as the under 20s or the senior women's team, because the under 17s don't have the exposure because of all of those things, and not having a proper league and other things. Tougher, but I would hope we can make it 3 out of 3. If only we had Rahul Bose in football. Simon, yes. Rahul, if you see what he's done for rugby, I remember we spoke first time what he wanted to do, I think in 2010. It was impressive to listen to that. And to see 15 years later where he's come with being the president of Rugby India, where he's gotten the Rugby Premier League off the board, his success to some extent for the national teams. Yeah, impressive to say the least. I think the situation is becoming worse and worse. Clubs and the federation also become worse at what happening now. There will be time and time things will happen where clubs will not let the players go. Yeah, Coco, that's the point, right? The clubs have only leverage on their players against the federation. That's the only thing they have. And for the AIFF, for things to happen, they need the players, they need the clubs. And if it seems to me, uh, um, it seems to me that the federation, you know, are not in a position of power against the clubs, right? So that's the danger that I see. So yeah, let's wait and see what they do. According to you, which is the best youth club where professional teams play? Saksham, there is no. If you ask me, I would say the Dallas Cup most probably is the strongest of them all. But I would rather, I mean, I've said this a few times on this channel, I would rather say a team, let them come for 2, 3 weeks on a tour, maybe even not of one country, maybe of two countries, and play friendly matches. Because what's the value of playing 7-a-side, 9-a-side, even 11-a-side tournaments where you're playing 4, 5 matches in 3, 4, 5 days, not even of 90 minutes duration, right? So a 90-minute football game is different than playing 2 times 10, 2 times 20, 2 times 25, whatever it is. So to me, all these tournaments, it depends. And you might have the right mix of players, you might have the right mix of squad to be able to play, others don't. Who is playing? Are they playing their best players or are they playing their bench players? Are they playing their academy? Are they playing their grassroots? Are they playing even maybe their inclusion teams, whatever it is? So therefore, these tournaments do not make sense. So I can get the German manuals, coaching books. Saksham, the German FA on their website, DFB website, have certain things, not manuals as books, but have certain data available in PDFs. That is one thing. And if you want German manual coaching books, I guess you'll have to search Amazon, would be my logic, where you could find it if you're searching specific books, or look for content data which is available on the net, right? There's a lot of stuff these days which is available on the internet. All right. 97, nearly 98 minutes. Simon asks, would the increased stake of clubs in the functioning of the ISL be detrimental based on the proposed stakeholding structure by FSDL? Simon, theoretically, if you ask me, I am forcing the clubs into some level of ownership of the league. At the moment, FSDL is doing everything for them, except, of course, the clubs are nowadays organize their match days. Let's be clear about that. But otherwise, FSDL is doing everything for them, right? And for me, the importance is how does the system do things in a way that it helps the overall growth and development? And to me, I think if the clubs have to take ownership of their own league, more involvement, I think that would be good. Will it work? That is your question. With that being detrimental, that has to be proven. Right? I think the proposal from FSTL goes in the right direction because it gives ownership of the league to AIFF as well as the clubs, besides Reliance. But the question is if the clubs are in a position to do that. And we see already that the clubs have not been able to come together as 13 and speak with one voice. Right? Original letter only signed by 8. Then it moved up to, okay, all clubs attended. But again, it seems to be especially Mohun Supergiant is not interested. It to me is very interesting to see. And this is, again, I've said this over the last few days a few times, there is no one success system. We have different systems of success because on one side you have the failures over the years, the clubs to come together, be it in NFL, be it in I-League, or now be it in the ISL. That's the reality. Which type of philosophy you like, German or Spanish? Saksham, I'm born and brought up in Germany, and I like the German very well, but I've seen out of own experience, how it is, and Spanish is impressive, French is impressive in itself, others as well. So I'm not too fixed on a philosophy as well. And of course, don't forget, I'm more of a management guy. I'm not a coach. So therefore, for me, whatever looks good, whatever feels good, I take it. Your opinion on downfall of German national team after 2014? Saksham, I think it started in 2016, right? Certain wrong decisions taken. Joachim Löw stayed too long. Still think Germany has the potential. And I guess the Euros showed last year what Germany can do. Very unlucky to lose against Spain. And I think they will be one of the teams to look out for next year in the World Cup. Why I feel like Indians want glamour, entertainment, and everything. So, like in sports and football and hockey, Goku, because that's India. It is about Bollywood and cricket, right? So that's what has been the success of the biggest success stories of India are Bollywood and cricket. So that's the thing that is what they like the most, right? That's part of the problem, right? Of India. So therefore, yeah, if I like it, you like it, we like it. Welcome to the world of India, and that is, the way of Bollywood running things, and it has failed in other sports. It has failed in all other sports that we've gone. LCSTL to me is basically trying a way out to reduce the burden of losses down from the shoulders to the clubs. Nice idea. Simon, I don't even know if they're willing to burden down the losses on the shoulders of the clubs, because the clubs still, even today, are getting something, not much, but they're getting something from the central pool. The question is, what works the best? ICC Women's Cricket World Cup in September, October 2025, Men's T20 World Cup on February and March next year. So is this possible or not? Khalid Jim is an expert, 100%. Khalid, 100% no. He has to still sign the contract, and as long as the contract is not signed, and Bishop, I don't care what will happen. September, October, ISL is not happening. I feel impossible. And to me, if it starts, December looks tight at the moment, maybe Jan. What time is it now? It's 2 minutes to 8 p.m. here in Germany, Saksham. And with that, slowly, 1 hour 42 plus minutes, which means 102 minutes on this live. Slowly want to come to an end on this Monday evening. Another Indian football discussion. The positive is that the India under-20s have qualified for the under-20 Women's Asian Cup. Big thing next year, April. So we can look forward to March, April, senior women's national team, and then the junior women's national team. And on the men's side, I don't know where we're going. Simon asking, can a 6-month extension be a solution for this deadlock? Last question for the day, sir. Yeah, it's something which proposed, I think 3-4 months ago. No one is looking at it now. So yeah, it needs to be, but the question that no one has asked is Reliance ready to extend it till next year and then find a solution to it, yes or no? That's the question that no one seems to have asked. Goku says, like we're living in a la-la land where people who runs the sport want success when no one is expecting. Then there is take it off football. These guys are looking for the same thing like Asian Cup, World Cup. Yeah, but Goku, that's the problem, right? We are looking at things, we're hoping for things, but will it happen? And that is, I think, the biggest problem we have in Indian sports. And if things don't change, this scenario is the way it is, and it needs to change. If it doesn't change, nothing will change. And that is the sad part. Grassroots, youth development, that work needs to be done. We cannot just do jugaad and hope that something happens. And therefore, India is failing in sports because we think as in other areas we'll do. Good night, gute Nacht, Simon. I'm trying to be regular on these things, and so therefore, yeah. And why are Iraq? What are Iraq doing? They're better than us in getting contract in Europe because they're better than us. What are they doing? They're playing. They're being watched. The national team is more successful as ours. Yeah, and they don't have a proper successful league system. Even the ISL is bigger than the Iraqi league. I'm leaving Sanara. Thanks, Goku. Thanks, everybody else. I'll be back, not tomorrow, but on Thursday. Let's see. And FCB, I take yours as a last comment. Hello, Arun sir. After reading the news of new Indian national team coach, my predictions 150 plus FIFA rankings voting. I hope not, but I understand your feelings, FCB. Thanks once again, all of you, for joining in today and the latest Indian football discussion here on my channel, Arun Foot. If you've liked the discussion, do leave a like, share it with other people, and if you're new, do subscribe to the channel. Help me grow the channel. I need your support, and also watch the short videos on this channel. Did something on Indiana 20s qualifying for the under 20 Women's Asian Cup. All the issues on the AIFF, Khalid Jamil, on all other things that have been happening are on the channel. And yeah, good night, Saksham. Good night, everybody else. And I won't be catching you tomorrow. I'll catch you on Wednesday with a watch along of FC Goa versus Al Seeb in the AFC Champions League 2 qualifiers. FC Goa versus Al Seeb, 7:30 kickoff. I'll be there. Thanks and good night.